Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the modern market, where every day, almost every day, because we have just coming back from a little bit of a Christmas break, New Year break, but we are back for 2025, where every day we will be discussing everything to do with the modern market. That is the crypto market, the NFT market, and how to ideally make some, or really for 2025, a lot of money on the internet. Loaded up for discussion today, we have Sol outperforming majors in the last 7 days, up 11%, whereas ETH and BTC are up around 5 or 6. So he is outperforming, though. We'll touch on that. Hype is down to $24. Hyperfi launches its Hyper token, and it runs to $100 million in 1 hour before full sending to 240 million. We will break down what on earth is going on there. And finally, AI agent market cap's up 30% in 7 days to hit 16.75 billion. So that is cooking to the AI agent side of things. We've also got the latest on price action on crypto and NFTs, plus a discussion on general market rotations and where liquidity is flowing. So stay tuned for that. Today, I'm back with Legendary in the co-host seat. We're ready to get into it. But just a reminder, friends, that nothing that we say here is financial advice. This market is so risky. So please do proceed with caution and exercise your own judgment. With that out of the way, Legendary, we are back. It is Monday. It is the 6th of January. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
GM, it's good to be back with the show. I wasn't out of touch with the market, but definitely it's been the first break that we've been taking from the show in what is now 416 episodes. So it feels a bit strange to kind of be back after such a long break because, again, we never had that before, but it's good that we are back and live and ready to go.
Indeed. What have you been doing? What have you been up to? How have you been passing your time?
Trading. It's been beautiful time spent in the AI trenches, mostly on base. It's been insanely profitable run over the last couple of weeks, to be frank. And also enjoyed some time with the family. So I feel like that was a beautiful split for the holidays between family time and wallet time. And it's definitely a good way to start your year at portfolio all-time high.
Wallet time is not a real thing, by the way.
It is. It's the
As far
most
as I
real
know,
thing.
wallet time isn't like one of the things that is like a time zone.
Yeah, but you have personal time, you have family time, you have wallet time. It's definitely becoming a thing.
Okay, so it's like that proportion of time which you are logged into Rabby or logged into MetaMask. And if you are not getting that wallet time, it means that you're an unhappy person, right?
Exactly, yeah. I like that Funky is pointing out in the YouTube comments, by the way, you guys looked like you switched places. B is clean shaven and now Legendary is starting his pirate look.
Yeah, it's good. We are switching places. We're going to be in the same place pretty soon, though. I think you're coming out to Dubai pretty soon. Am I right? We're going to be hanging here for a little bit.
Yep, I'm flying out tomorrow, straight to Abu Dhabi, couple days there, and then off to Dubai.
Good stuff. Have a nice little IRL reunion. Just want to say, hope to everyone else had a lovely break. Hope your time with friends and family was very enjoyable, and hopefully your wallet time, as Legendary has now coined the term, was very profitable also. And if you didn't get much wallet time, not to worry. I'm sure 2025 is going to bring a lot of wallet time and hopefully some profitable wallet time. That's what we're here for, trying to provide you the best information and insights as we go, no matter what happens in the market, whether it's NFTs, crypto, or AI agents, as it seems to be. We're going to be diving into those in a little bit more detail and what's going on in that market, because it's just been absolutely on fire in the week or two that we've been off. But as usual, let's start the show with the price action to get you up to speed with what's going on there, and then we'll get into the headlines and the other news too. Starting with Bitcoin, we are up just a couple of percent to 99K, knocking back on the door of 100K. ETH is up a percent too, back to 3.6K, although it feels like it's just always there, to be honest, not really doing anything. In particular, Solana is only up a percent to 216, but it is up 12% in the last 7 days, outperforming the other majors. So that is what's going on there. In terms of on the meme side of things, we have let the page just load, and I will tell you what is going on the meme side of things. We've got Dogecoin up a percent, but up 20% on the week. it has now gone to 38 cents, almost back to that 40-cent support position where it's had a lot of support. Pepe's up 12% on the week as well. Pengu is up 40% on the week, pushing towards, I think it was a $3.8 billion valuation when I last checked. Bonk's up 7%. AI16Z is up 50% in the last week, pushing to a 2 billion FDV. WIF is up 10%, around $2 still. Murad Coin SPX up 17% in the last 24 hours, up 70% on the week. A lot of green on the meme coin side, guys. That's my general take here. Basically, every single thing is green, apart from Peanut, which is down 5%, and Goat actually down 7%, back down to 50 cents. Okay, getting into the main headlines. Sol's outperforming majors in the last 7 days, up 11% versus ETH, which is up 6%. Bitcoin's up 5%. Sui, on the other hand, is up 26% in the same time, whilst Hype is down, or just kind of been chilling around the lower $24 region. And okay, let me just try and switch the Discord notifications off. Actually, I can't do that here. I think we're getting some feedback. I'll carry on with the headlines, and I'll deal with that feedback. Apologies if you're hearing anything there. Also, you've got HyperFi launching its Hyper token, and it ran to $100 million in 1 hour before full sent to 240 mil. This is pretty outrageous activity here. Legendary is going to break that down a little bit later today. And then finally, AI agent market cap is up 30% in the last 7 days to hit 16.75 billion. Legendary will give a full breakdown of what on earth is going on there. Some notable sales: Pudgy Penguin Flower Crown sold for 28.88 ETH. CryptoPunk floor is around 37 ETH still. That's not really changed since we last checked in. Xcopy Grifter floor, though, is up to around 19 ETH. That is pretty important to note. Let's get a bit of an update on the NFT side. Legendary, what's going on over there?
Yeah, quite a few big moves on the NFT side of things, not only from the meme side, because Pengu has been pumping massively, and I think it is at all-time high if you ignore some of the earliest ticks when the TGE went live. Similarly, Pudgy Penguins are up, and they're up quite a lot. They're up 9% over the last 24 hours, back at a 24.5 ETH floor. Also a green day for Bored Apes. Bored Apes up 4%, 16.6 ETH floor for them. Azuki is basically flat, 12.35 ETH floor. Also not a significant change over the last 7 days, only down 2.6%. Very similar story with Doodles when it comes to the last 24 hours, only down 0.4%, 5.06 floor for the Doodles collection, however, down 11.5% over the last 7 days. Also quickly wanted to take a look at the base side of things. There we go. We have, on the one hand, virtual waifus up another 36%, up 17,172% over the last 7 days. Starts to have the narrative of being the PFP of virtuals and getting some traction, especially after both Easy and ICO Beast have been talking about this collection. And also similar move that we've seen for on-chain Gaias. Again, AI-based collection on base up 20% over the last 24 hours, 1.4 ETH floor for that collection, and also up 183% over the last 7 days.
Love it. Thanks so much for also covering the base side of things, because things have been popping off over there. Let's just get you up to speed with the rest of the Web3 Roundup to get you up to with what else has been happening. Jesse Polak says bringing Coinbase, kind of the person in charge of leading Base, the Coinbase is L2, says bringing Coinbase stock onto Base would be huge. Said agreed that coin on Base would be huge. It's something we are looking into in the new year. That would be pretty exciting, getting some stock onto the Base L2. Chamath predicts stablecoin adoption to soar in 2025. We've been saying that all the time. Just interesting to note other people saying that too. Yuga Labs announces it will begin voting with 6.9 million of its ApeCoin in the next DAO voting cycle. Always intrigued with how these bigger players participate in their own DAOs. Sometimes they try to stay neutral. Looks like that we might see some more participation. Pengu holder number passes 600,000, price up another 8% in 24 hours, 30% in 7 days to a $3.8 billion floor. Web3 arm of Baby Shark IP with 11.7 million YouTube subs launches the Baby Shark meme. It hit $200 million before a retrace to $150 million. That is pretty interesting. Crypto dick butts surge 18% to a 1.5 ETH floor And as Legendary noted, virtuals, waifus surged 500% over the last few days to a 0.2 ETH floor. Before we get into the main headlines, Legendary, it seems like, okay, I'm just going to ask you generally, how, like, anything in taking your interest there from the roundup. Also, just seems like a lot of the pieces of news today is just like, this is surging, that is surging, everything's surging. Any particular takes there, or just anything else that is catching your attention?
Yeah, two things. Real quick on the virtual waifu side of things. Feels like exactly what you said. Everything is surging, everything is pumping, but we are trying to combine narratives. We're trying to have the PFP component matched with the AI component. There's a lot of companies who try to become basically the poster child at the intersection of AI and gaming. Similarly, the hyper story that we'll talk about a bit later is trying to merge AI and bring back metaverses. So that's interesting to see that we start 2025 by trying to combine AI with other narratives or slap AI in front of other narratives on the one hand. And on the other hand, definitely the Jesse Pollock news mentioning that Coinbase stock on base would be huge, and basically even exploring this as a potential option is something that I would find super, super interesting. And it's something I thought a bit about over the holidays because I was cleaning up my stock portfolio as well. And I was like, oh, wait, I can't trade. It's a Sunday. There's no price quote available. There's nothing that I can do right now. And then it's obviously not as intuitive as trading crypto. And it's quite interesting that, oops, I think BCheck dropped for a moment. It's quite interesting that if you basically are so used to crypto that suddenly stocks are becoming the thing that are a bit exotic. Currently also waiting to see when BCheck will be back, but Brett has joined us in the meantime, so I'm going to bring you back up to stage. What a beautiful timing for you to come and save the show and not let me be alone.
Have you ever seen B-Check or I in the same room is the question. Who's to say we're not the same person?
I haven't. I mean, you claimed that you have spent time together, but I haven't seen you together.
See? So for people just listening and only know us by our voices, we're not technically separate. But yeah, so a little bit late. But back in America, time's all a little fucked up for me. So I'm getting used to. I'm actually doing like the high school thing. I'm at someone else's, Allison's parents' house. So things are a little weird. But yeah, you talking about the Coinbase stuff going on chain. I actually saw other rumors of like people trying to use coin as the actual gas token, which is a little fucked up. I don't see how that would be possible. And they're extrapolating that to other stocks. But I mean, you could technically do it. It's fake utility, but you could technically do it.
Wait, so Coinbase stock becomes deflationary?
That was the thing they were trying to say. They're like, oh yeah, bring it on chain, make like, gas is the ultimate utility in a lot of like crypto people's heads. But yeah, people are speculating on it.
Yeah, but it would be so good to just have more traditional assets coming on chain. Like I recently, just a little sidestep here, recently wanted to buy uranium, and it's just a pain in the ass to buy that on a traditional market. And I know there's a coin coming, I think at some point this year. I know there's already one out there, but I think there's another one with a better backing to my understanding coming, where you just can buy blockchain backed uranium. And I would obviously love to have my stock portfolio on chain as well.
Yeah, that's there is a uranium protocol coming. I remember making a note of it. We reported on it on the show. It's exactly the kind of thing which is like, how do you get exposed to uranium normally? I know there is probably ways, but having a protocol that's like branded as the uranium protocol would just make it so much easier, right? Than having to go and do like your own research and finding out like what the uranium stocks are or whatever, and then like grouping them all together in some kind of basket that you can get on chain. Look, well, I'm sure there are ways to do this.
That FTX was trying to do, remember? FTX's whole thing was like, we're bringing stocks on chain. Like everyone got all bricked up about it. And like, cause it is like having everything in one place where you can quickly and fluidly, like that's the kind of the craziness of crypto, right? Narratives, everything, what else you can within 2 button clicks, right? Go from I'm buying a JPEG on Solana to I'm swapping for, well, not uranium, but like there are some RWAs out there you can actually swap into, and like the fluidity of capital that exists in our ecosystem is ridiculous. That's why things go crazy quickly, because like you can shift value very, 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 very fast. So yeah, like that's the ultimate value prop, right? Put everything of value on chain, and then you can quickly allocate your capital permissionlessly between all of those things.
Imagine if we do that, how difficult it becomes to explain to a real person. If, say, you take a loan against your Pudgy Penguin JPEG to buy uranium on chain while paying transaction fees with the Coinbase stock on Base.
That's the dream, right? Like build the Biddle fund, right? BlackRock on mainnet is one click away from a Pudgy Penguin, right? Like it is right there. So like that's the dream.
And then when the Coinbase, when Base earns fees in coin, they use that to buy more coin. All fees earned by Base go back to buy more coin, like hype. Everyone's trying to do the hype thing at the moment. I'm talking to multiple teams at the moment, and they're just like, how can we create the flywheel where we just keep buying our token back and keep owning more of the network?
Yeah, you have to not give a shit about money. Like that's the edge they have, is they didn't need money, so they didn't raise. They don't need money, so they'll just keep buying their shit. So like if you're extremely wealthy, yeah, do all of the things that Hyperliquid did.
Makes sense. Okay, we're going to get into all the main headlines in a minute. Thanks for saving me with the bad internet connection for a second, guys. Before we get there, I thought this was a really interesting conversation to bring up. Today's discussion point centered around, unsurprisingly, it's not really AI agents. It's about thinking about what's actually going on with AI agents and the capital formation that's happening in front of our eyes. So Frank had this tweet like a few days ago where he said, Legendary, do you mind reading it out? Because I can't quite see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Frank was saying, let me try to zoom in a bit as well. People are basically launching startups on pump.fun. The trenches are the fastest form of market validation in the history of humanity. The market will tell you if there's demand instantly, not weeks, not months, not even minutes, in seconds. Internet capital markets.
So I like this idea. Well, I like this observation. I think it's an interesting observation in the sense that it's definitely not meme coins anymore. Like I think that can be quite fairly said. It's not only a meme that people want to wildly speculate on. Now it's moved to the point. It's like, well, we've got an idea. We've got like an idea. Would you be happy to fund it, speculate on it, and maybe you can get a sense of the validity of the idea? Well, this is the position that they're taking. You can get a sense of the validity of the idea or the interest in the idea by the value of the token. If people are buying it, then you've got a good idea. If they're not buying it, you don't have a good idea. That's that one position. I saw an interesting tweet in response though, which was this, and I just want to see what you guys think about this. So the response from a user called Peach was this: people are not launching startups on pump.fun. They are selling the idea of a startup on pump.fun. The age-old problem with crypto is how easy it is to make more money by selling an idea than actually doing the thing. Brett, I saw you shaking your head as I was sharing the initial idea. I want to come straight to you for your take here. What is it? Is it the case that pump.fun is launching new startups, or is it just like a kind of marketing scheme to raise capital without deserving to?
Okay, so my initial reaction was like, that's restarted. Like it's stupid. Like no. But then like thinking on it, I actually had a tweet on it relevant to that about a week ago. But I think this is kind of what he was ultimately getting at, where I said like people need, like, a lot of things start off in a very raw form and it's trying to be expressed through meme coins, right? It's like people launch stuff and they just like attach a narrative to it because, like, right, there's no inherent utility to these things whenever they're launched on Pump.fun. You attach a thought to them whenever you would give a name, you give a logo, and like maybe the person that's launching it has a persona. You attach that to this coin, and the markets are trying to express something that they want through a lot of these pump funds and through a lot of meme coin narratives. So like I think one, like my initial reaction was like, no one is doing deep dive into this stuff inside of pump fund and like actually doing a proper allocation of these things. Like, so yes, things run, but like, no, it's an asymmetric market in the early trenches stages, right? Like market's not efficient. So like that was like no, it's dumb. Like don't just like buy anything that pumps. But then it was also like, okay, once things get to a certain level and there is like full on narratives formed around some of these things, AI agents, I wouldn't say like dogs and cat coins, but like you see a lot of these like trending things. It's like in this, I mentioned charity, social tokens, tokenized trends. It's like it's certain things that are kind of like as a group, like the market is showing an appetite for that thing, and it's improperly expressed through meme coins, because meme coins again aren't really associated, like, or they're not a great vehicle for that. Using the charity thing, right? The mirror thing just popped off, like, oh, we want to donate to this person. Well, it's like, okay, this, like, there is an inherent value or desire to do a charity like purchase into this coin, because they know Mira is something that'll both like benefit the person / it will also be in the headlines for a long time. But buying it from someone who has already launched the coin for someone else and took 50% of the supply, and then like it's just hanging out there, not attached to anything, or like kind of informally, formally tied to them, like that's not the best way for that to be expressed. So it's like there's a market opportunity for someone to build like a specific thing that allows for you to do like that charity thing, but make it more conducive to the actual thing that they're trying to do, which is again charity. So like maybe make it so that, and again, Mirror thing kind of got mired in a lot of drama and whether he's a scammer or not. So like you'd have to find other ways for that, but like find a way to do a charity style launch or token allocation for someone to make sure that they actually get a portion of it. They're actually defended. They don't have to worry about being an LP on Radium or whatever. Like they don't have to do any of that stuff. It does that for them on the back end, and they get the natural benefits of that. So like there's a product idea there, and it was expressed through the meme coins because that was like the quickest way it came to market with an idea, and the market showed it attached to it, but it's not the best form of that thing.
So I think what you're saying is, to the extent it feels like, well, meme coins are the fastest route to liquidity, basically if for anything that you're trying to do at the moment.
And to see what minds latch onto, right? To see, because like that's the hardest thing is like people don't understand things because stuff's complex, whatever. But they're like, oh, charity, cancer, give this guy money, cool, I'm in, boom, bought it. Right? It's like, oh, the market has shown there's not a lot of logical gaps. It's quickly able to receive the idea of this charity token through the meme coins, but like make it better, right? There's a product idea there. Go iterate on it.
Yeah, and in every segment, maybe there's a bespoke product to be built. So if you want to do charity, you could do charity. If you want to group together with your friends and buy the constitution, create the platform which allows you to pull your funds in order to do that specific thing without needing to do it on a speculative asset. If you want to build decentralized science because you want to do testing on, I don't know, flies, right, and then rodents, and right, then humans.
Like some of those may have started on Pump Fund, right? Someone launched it on Pump Fund. Yeah. They saw that like, oh yeah, DeSci, and they're like, okay, well let's create a DeSci platform. Boom, let's build this thing, make it a little more conducive to it. It's,
interesting. So your position is, build the actual platforms for this stuff. Shouldn't necessarily need to be meme coins. Legendary, keen to hear your thoughts here. Is this like legit internet capital formation, or is it a lot of selling the idea of ideas?
A couple of thoughts on that. First of all, to what Brett has been saying, this is such an interesting thought that he had, because you can daily, I find a couple of AI agents who are like, oh, this is a cool idea if someone would build that, and you can see them like fly to a couple mil, and then either there is someone really building there and the project stays kind of alive, or you will see the token at 10K, 20K the day after. So basically, if you want to do something, you can collect a week's worth of ideas who were at a couple mil and ended up being a 5-figure token after that. And then you have like 20 ideas and you can actually figure out what you want to do with that, or if there's like a common denominator that would help bring some of those ideas to life. So that's actually a very fascinating thought. And in terms of Frank's original post, I don't necessarily agree, because G-Money was also making a good point in the comments. G-Money was saying, but then you want the dev to have more than 2% of the supply, actually. Yeah. You don't want to have someone, if someone has a startup, you want to invest in a founder, you want it for the founder to be its main business, to not be distracted by side hustles. And then you want your founder to have a bigger piece of the cake than 2%. And yes, admittedly, something can run to 100 mil pretty quickly, and the founder gets to sell, say, like half of his stake, he made $1 million, but then that is suddenly the equivalent of having raised $1 million in traditional markets. So the discrepancy becomes pretty big between that. And obviously the fundraising route, or like adopting a token, something that Project 89 did, and other AI projects did as well, worked out pretty well for some, but I don't think that this is basically a market for founders to necessarily fundraise for their ideas. It's more like an idea exploration market, product fit market, attention driven market, obviously. but not necessarily a new route for everyone to, well, raise capital for whatever their startup project is.
Idea exploration market. Kind of that's got a ring to it. I can see like ideas.fun popping up. Just say an idea, just get it funded. Interesting. Okay. So I thought it'd be an interesting conversation to have because I don't know. I think a lot of the stuff that we're seeing, obviously a lot of it is cool. I think Legendary described it best when he said, you know, you're scrolling through these agents and your instantaneous response, because it's such new tech, is just like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. Even heard people saying, oh, that's cool for an AI agent that's going to do your taxes or something. It's like, it's not that cool. I mean, that would actually be super helpful. But in the end, things are not only valuable in the kind of imagination. It's like, can you do the thing? Just a normal accountant who can do my taxes properly would be super great. But the question is like, can you find that person to do it in practice? Like when it comes to doing it. So much of the value, at least for some of these things, should be in the practice, not just in the imagination. Brad, you want to come in?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I had this thought over this weekend because I've been listening to a lot of AI stuff, trying to get caught up. Right, I've been kind of out of it doing the infrastructure and Medi shit, but when listening to all these things, it kind of reminds me of, you remember back whenever last bull run NFTs are launching, whenever there's always a gap between like what we think we want to do and what this thing can become, and like how long it actually takes to make the thing. Now
Yeah,
AI
that
is
is definitely true.
rapidly improving, right? But like NFTs, we're like, oh my god, NFTs in video games, metaverse, whatever. And then like all these people are launching all this shit and you're like, oh man, it's awesome. This thing's gonna go to the fucking gorillions of dollars. And you're like, it takes a long time to fucking do these things. Literally years for a lot of this stuff to materialize. And in that trough, a lot of the value evaporates because people aren't patient enough to deal with that. In AI, right? Like, because the upper bound is unbounded, right? It's like literally our imaginations this can do literally anything, right? Like the world is going to change. We have AGI, we're going to be slaves to this shit. It's like everyone is able to sit here and go, this thing is going to be worth. I was listening to quotes of like, year in recaps, like, oh my god, this whole thing is going to be worth a couple $1 trillion. Like this whole sector, 500 billion, easy, boom. It's going to L1s are going to be like this equivalent to AI agents. And I'm like, like yeah, maybe, but like, I feel like there's probably still going to be this long tail of like, it takes time to build shit. It just takes time to lay code. It takes time, like the man hours we talk about with like Ethereum, right? Like Ethereum has a really long network effect because a lot of just time has been spent building the thing. AI is going to iterate a little faster, I think, obviously, because of like that you've seen it over the last 2 years, right? Since ChatGPT came out and where it's at now. But I still think we're probably going to hit this thing where like everyone gets a little over their skis because they think valuation should go to a gajillion, badillion dollars. And then we're like, okay, it kind of just takes a while for this stuff to materialize. It's going to take a while for someone to create an AI agent that can do your taxes. It's going to take a while for someone to create an AI agent that can fluidly swap like AI Wayfinder, right? To fluidly swap between all the chains and like eliminate bridges entirely because you just offload it to an AI agent. Totally, like there's going to be 15 AI XBTs. No, it's like he's probably going to dominate for a little while, and then it's going to take a while for other people to build up an actual replicable data set to do what he's doing. And then I'm saying he, like it's a person, but then like it just takes a while for this stuff to mature. Is I guess my thing.
Yeah, look, I completely agree. I want to move into the headlines in a second because we've got some awesome breakdowns to come. Not only on, well, continuing the conversation on the AI market, because we want to break down like the specific things that have been moving. But my final point there, Brad, is like if you think about where this goes, I think we've been kind of saying this for a while when it comes to AI generated content or anything that's going to go to AI, and anything that can be done by AI means that it will be done by another AI, which means it has no moat because all of them will just be able to replicate the same stuff because it's all just code. And once people know what the code is and someone else can do it, it all comes down to brand in the end. And like how your AI or your framework or positions itself to stand itself, once you have that AI agent that can do your taxes and then there's 7 others, it's kind of just like having 7 accountancy firms, they can all do your taxes. Well, who are you going to pick? It's back to the same position where you've got to choose on brand now, you've got to choose on values, or you've got to choose on something other than the ability to do the job, because accountants firms can already do the job, and you pick based on specific, more human, personal factors. I mean, obviously it won't be human factors in this case, but there'll be like some kind of touch point that the way that they speak to you speaks more directly to you. That's where I'm thinking where this goes. That's why I was so wanted to push so much that we create content as humans and do it regularly, because I genuinely think this is a protection mechanism for us against AI agents, because they can't do what we're doing right now, compared to, well, at least not for a little bit.
I was
Any
getting in a
final
fight with
reflections there?
I got in a fight with Mert this weekend. Now you guys may have seen my books, and I had people that were literally just like, they didn't want to read it, and they would just quote me and tag an AI bot, and it would spin up a video that just sat there, like a video, generated a video of someone talking about my thread to explain to them what the argument was about. It wasn't great, but like, they're coming for us too, man, doing this kind of stuff. And then one other thing for the moat, like, so yes, I agree, but I there will be quality differences, right? So it's like, it's not all open source, right? AXBT is
Sure.
led by a team that ingests all this data, and they have a specific algorithm on the back end that does like, this is the type of person or persona that'll have, this is the actual data and like weights that we give to the data and who you should follow. And like, so like you could spin up an agent on proprietary Cato data and their algorithm versus the AI XBT, and those would be two different bots because their data that is proprietary would be separate. But like, yes, I would say on the long enough time horizon, like, yeah, it all kind of flattens out a little bit, and the quality difference becomes much smaller.
I don't think that on a long enough time horizon you will be the one choosing what AI agent you will even pick to do your taxes, or what AI agent you will pick to do your social security and social insurance packages that you can at least pick in Austria. You will have one AI agent that's basically your life companion, and this is the one where brand will count. This is like the Google Android versus Apple iPhone question, and that's the one that's going to handle all the purchasing, AI agents, subscriptions, comparing them one to another, because that will certainly do a better job than you as a human. If you look at 7 accounting AI agents and you try to figure out which one is the best for your portfolio specifically, I'm sure that on a long enough time horizon, there's going to be an AI who will be able to answer you that question better than you yourself as a human.
Interesting. Just a final point on this, because I think it's an interesting conversation. I remember listening to Gary Vee about how he kind of perceives such like social moving forward, and just the relationship between customer and company moving forward. So he's so big on voice now. I think there's an idea that whoever can own the voice market becomes the one. So like, obviously Google now have the phone, and we type into Google, but what will be the device that we are speaking to moving forward? And as you like, there's going to be another companion, right? I think Legendary is right in that respect. There'll be a companion, and then whoever the companion chooses, whoever has the partnerships with the companion, will be the ones that win. I think, because it's too hard to scroll Pump Fun to find your next accountant, or do things like that. So look, very, very interesting conversation. We're going to go back to the agents in a bit, where we're going to break down what on earth's been going on there. But let's maybe just a general market review. We've obviously been off for a couple of weeks, and the majors have not done a huge amount, I'd say. Like, we've got Bitcoin at 99K, knocking back on the door of 100. We've got ETH at around 3.6. Got Solana probably outperforming the rest of the majors, up 12% in the last 7 days. Interesting points to note, though. Things like Avalanche are up 20% in the last 7 days, up back to 44 cents. Sui is up 27% in the last 7 days, at an all-time high around $5.20. And you've also got other okay, and then the other kind of big thing on people's minds has been Hyperliquid, right? Which is actually down 12% in the last 7 days to around 25, but it's actually recovered. It had gone down as low as 24. So in the last, actually, sorry, it had gone down a bit lower than that, gone down to 22 in the last 7 days. So what do we think about all these L1s? Or, you've got Hyperliquid's going to become an L1, very, very productive, very well-loved product at the moment for trading. Catapulted into the top 50 coins. You've got Sui, which is really raging up and outperforming all the other majors. Sol, which has kind of bounced back in comparison with ETH. ETH is just like rock solid, 3.3 to 3.6K, perfect stable coin. and Bitcoin's knocking on the door of 100. Just wanted to hear general thoughts, how we're thinking about things. Maybe Legendary first. General thoughts on the majors and maybe the alt L1s.
Okay, it's gonna sound ridiculous, but it's the first time that I was a bit pissed to see BTC and ETH pumping again, because that also meant that capital is flowing out of virtuals, and virtuals had the top at $5 and corrected down a bit because that ranging mode was beautiful for other coins to run. But also now that the holidays are over and we still have 14 days to go until Trump's inauguration, it's probably not too surprising to see a run on majors. The thing that I struggle with a bit is the L1s, the Suis, the Avalanches. I mean, obviously Avalanche has been doing a great job at growing their influence in gaming, not only having two basically top tier titles now, but managing to attract way more teams than I would probably have expected a year ago. But with my focus so much being now on the AI infrastructure stuff, I and also seeing that virtuals ultimately behaves like an L1 for AI agents in a way, because you trade against the base currency. There's a trading fee to do that, which is not too dissimilar from an L1. I feel like that basically L1, L2 concept might become a bit more fluid with the way how some AI infrastructure protocols are positioning themselves. So this is why I'm rather happy right now to concentrate my capital around the three ecosystems in BTC and ETH and Solana, and everything basically on the corresponding L2s, and have the infrastructure focus there. Then now venturing out to something else and trying to understand what is the price driver for SUI and how is this ecosystem currently working. I think it's a very interesting one, but it's just because of this agentic L1 nature of certain protocols that I'd rather stay in my bubble right now and not branch out.
Fair enough. I think a lot of people probably felt very similar in the sense that they've abandoned the alt L1 trade for probably realistically going further down the risk curve, whether that's with memes or with AI agents now and things like that. So I don't think you're alone in that. Although,
sorry, one more point to that. Plus, there's also so much cross-chain liquidity now, even with something like formerly Phantom, now what is it, Sonic?
Yeah,
I think Sonic having Daniele Sesta's Hey Anon agent, which obviously you could bridge to Phantom, convert to Sonic and buy that and do the pre-sale there. But pretty soon after that, you had liquidity on base, you had liquidity on Solana for that. Obviously, you're going to be a bit later with some things, similar with how virtuals also have trading pairs on Solana. But if you're not going out of your way for a specific trade, you're like, this is launching on Sonic right now, and I want to have it, so this is where I'm going to bridge over. But you see something that gains traction there, and you're either way could have got late to it. There's also a realistic chance you can pick it up on another chain and don't even need to get and go out of your way, unless you want to play with bigger size, because obviously liquidity is always the best on the native, or in most cases the best on the native chain where the token has launched.
Yeah. You also have these applications now for the first time ever that are trying to abstract all the chain stuff away. I know Wasabi launched on Solana, trying to kind of create this dashboard where, your money's just in there. It doesn't really matter where you want to put it. It's just all meant to house your capital, no matter where it is. You've got people like Infinex launching. You've got Azura, where you can do these trades across chain. You've got another one I saw the other day, DeFi app, that's supposed, you just put the money in. If you want to buy a Solana meme coin, you can do it. You want to buy a base meme coin, you can do it. You want to buy an ETH something, you can do it. So like, I do think a lot of these conversations will, at least the apps are being created in order to try to take that conversation away. Brett, I'd be super curious for your thoughts here on even, just the idea that the L1 killer, is this a battle that people are still going to want to fight when people are trying to abstract that stuff away? What are your thoughts, given that you're kind of building aggressively with Mega ETH?
Yeah, I mean, people will, because like there are like technology improves, and there's always going to be people that are nerd snipe that want to build the tech just because they want to see the challenge of building the tech. So like it's going to continue to happen. I think the reason we're not seeing a lot of liquidity fly, or we are seeing a little bit of that, is but not as strongly, or we thought that was dead, is because like, okay, you want to put on an L1 trade because L1 valuations are a little different across the board, but everything's like a risk adjusted basis, right? Like, why would I go to a new L1 that maybe has a little bit better tech when it's like, Solana's kind of crushing it right now, right? Solana's getting all this activity, it owns everything. Like, do I think Solana's smaller upside is more of a less risky thing, but still good compared to any L1? Because like, yeah, we're talking about Sui, we're talking about Avalanche, and like they're having like these green shoots of things. I honestly haven't heard of a single app that's like made me want to go do Sui stuff. I haven't heard like Avalanche had a game, right? So like that was on, not like they do the subnet stuff with multiple C chains, right? Or they do the C chain with multiple L1s, and it's like, okay, that's not actually on Avalanche. Does that value accrue there? Kind of has the same headwinds of Ethereum. So it's like, yeah, like people are going to continue to do it because tech is always improving. People want to build new tech. Nerds just like to do that shit. That's why we're doing Mega ETH stuff, right? We think we can make an edge. We're going to do it because we want to run the experiment. As far as like users, and will these L1s actually matter as much in the future when things are abstracted? Because you didn't even mention like there's a whole chain abstraction vertical inside of the Ethereum ecosystem, right? We're talking about particle network and all the other things. Like they have it's very similar to Infinex, where you just deposit some money and boom, you can do stuff across all chains. So yes, I think it will become less and less important over time. I still think for people like us that like to be on chain, it will matter. I don't know how much of our time and energy we'll spend on there. We'll want our liquidity on chains that we actually understand, and that's where we want to keep our stuff. So for us, it will matter. For us, we will move to things like that. But I think as the pie grows for the user base, maybe they end up gravitating towards the chain abstraction stuff because it kind of is a really good user experience if you don't care about that stuff.
Okay. Very, very interesting stuff. Appreciate your thoughts there, Brad. Just want to throw to Funky very quickly before we hit the next headline. Legendary is going to do a proper breakdown on what the hell is going with Hyperfi to make it go to $250 million in like, I don't know how many hours. It's been like 12 hours, something ludicrous. Funky, welcome to the stage, my friend. Happy New Year. Great to have you back with us. What's your take here? Resident Bitcoin bull. I imagine you're going in that direction. What are you thinking?
GM fam, I was actually not going in that direction, but always happy to talk about BTC being around 100K. Sui, I've talked about it before, and just the L1 thing, I think a general comment is follow the on-chain activity. The more that's happening on a chain, that kind of gives you a relative indicator for how much action's happening on the chain, and it just crossed 8 billion transactions on Sui. I'll post a chart my friend posted below so you guys can check it out, but I still think Sui is going to continue to rip.
Thanks, man. I know some pretty good traders who are in that trade and have been very, very bullish Sui for a while. So appreciate that take. Legendary, let's go straight to it now. We've only got 11 minutes left for the show today. We need to get into the AI agent roundup as well. I think Brad's going to touch on that with some data provided from Cookie. And then the Legendary first, Hyperfly. Why is this thing gone to $250 million? Break it down.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the chart because it is a pretty insane one. As you said, Hyper had a stealth launch and did run up to 100 mil within the first hour of that. And today we are trading at 207 mil, went even higher than that, went as high as 260, 265-ish. So what is going on with that Hyperfi protocol? What is the Hyper token? What are they working on? Basically, to put it in simple words, they are trying to create what they call an immersive web experience, bringing together AI agents, bringing together humans, bringing together apps, metaverses, all the different narratives that we mentioned before, identity as well, bring them together in one single, basically, platform or infrastructure ecosystem, which they've also been explaining a bit on the website as to how that works. However, the token did pick up massive traction with not only XPT posting about it, saying Hyperstealth launched 3 hours ago, Eliza AI 16Z collab confirmed first meaningful attempt at Web3 spatial computing since Zuck killed the meta dream. So that was actually pretty interesting comparison to make because it's exactly the sentiment that has been reflected by many other people posting that question, our metaverse is back now because we have AI agents. And just to dive a bit deeper into the explanatory thread that Hyperfi has written, so what they're saying, just some key points because it's too long and we don't have that much time. forget walled gardens. It's about a permissionless future. They are making it easy to build virtual experiences for any occasion. For even people who are not technical can build that. People who can code have so much more things to do and explore with HyperFi. There's also going to be an identity layer to that you can connect across the worlds on the web that apparently you will be able to build. There's an app layer to it. It's open to be explored by both AI agents and humans. And every tool, every layer, everything of what is being built is being open sourced.
Like a great roundup, legendary. Like the comment also from Justifan on YouTube comments. If metaverses are back, are we cooked? Is this the top? I got to go to Bread on this. This sounded like, and I read through the thread. It sounded like On Cyber. For people who are not familiar, On Cyber is a project that's been running for years by, I think his name is Ryan. I don't know him personally, but it looked really cool. It's like this virtual world, metaverse style. You could kind of put your PFP as your avatar. You could hang your NFT art in your rooms. You could create your own rooms. You could have online gatherings between you and your digital friends. Well, your real friends who are, acting digitally or existing digitally. And it sounded a little bit like that. But my understanding was On Cyber didn't really get product market fit in the way that they were doing it before. I believe they've made some changes, and I think they might even be launching or relaunching in some capacity on Mega ETH. I think I saw that announcement. What's your thought on the metaverse, Bread, and building these kind of online worlds and connecting them together and using your assets in them? And it does feel like we've been there already, right? Do you think this time is different?
So you're correct. On Cyber is relaunching. They're doing it as AWE or AW, like a autonomous world engine. So they basically took that same thing and they're extrapolating and making it further. So in the old form factor, no, I don't see a huge future for metaverse. But one thing that got me really excited about what they were launching is he showed a mechanism where it's the exact same thing, right? You're launching, you got your NFT, whatever stuff, but it was now the tech has gotten good enough that it can, and lightweight enough that in your browser you can log into this place and it can be real time logged into or accessing assets being created dynamically from the chain, right? So it was you sitting there, there's a portal above you, and I'll just drop the link so you can share with people. Actually, we have 5 minutes, and it was Pump Phone coins. The second they launched, they would drop into the screen live, right? And the size of the cube that was launched was the market cap of the coin. And if you touch the coin, you buy $1 of it. So,
okay.
So this is him, and this is 3 megs to run this environment. It's you're paying $1 every time you buy this stuff, right? So you can create games around this. You can make the thing follow you. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff. And in my mind, I was okay, that's still cool, whatever. But I was I wondered if seeing it in this view, right? We're always used to seeing coins in the traditional sense, which is on deck screen or whatever, and we evaluate it that way. I was wondering, if seeing this in this view actually allowed for better discovery in some way. I don't know if that's actually true, but if I saw it this way and I saw the size of the coins and I actually picked up on actual the visual aspect of this stuff as opposed to just the raw data that I have to interpret through text screener, is there a discoverability edge there? Is there something that I would interpret that is better than the traditional method? It's okay, now we can start talking. I can see maybe something there. I don't know if it's true, but maybe you can get an edge, and because you're autistic and you just you want to fucking do it that way, and you're the guy who can just tell the one coming through the portal is that's the fucking one. This is different than the other ones because of whatever reason. And so maybe if it's real time and it's allows for a new way to interpret this stuff live, maybe there's some value there. But just hang out with your stuff retroactively as a gallery, I'm less enthused.
Got it. That is okay. So a unique twist on something that has already taken place. Legendary, you were chuckling a little bit. Final take from you before you take us into before Bread takes us into the AI agent stuff.
It's just imagining the conversation around the trenches report being dude, did you just see the Bitcoin cube dropping out of the portal? I bumped against it 20 times yesterday, and now it's half the size of the massive Fartcoin cube in the background. That's even higher than the mountains. But yeah, I mean, it's a nice experience to visualize it.
I made dude, when I saw it, I was can you make a game where it's people load into my game, because you can create your own world, you can do all this stuff. Can I make a game that if you drop in, it automatically slings this fucking thing at you, and then these people are automatically having to buy my coin? He's like, yeah, totally. You can make it follow them. You can do like all this stuff. So it's like, I could just set up a honeypot game where you load into my game and immediately get bombarded with my tokens, and then like, oh fuck, I just lost $15 because like I didn't dodge the coins being thrown at me fast enough, or whatever. I don't know. It's like, it kind of sounds kind of funny. Like that, there's memetics there.
Okay, interesting. That is interesting. So, I mean, we kind of got sidetracked on the hyper thing, because we started talking about what is in general possible with the metaverses, how they might be interesting or intriguing in a new, unique way, and they're going to have to be, because for the people who might be slightly newer here, we have tried to do this before and it did not work. And my final reflection before you give us some data, Brad, is I feel for the first time, this is my second cycle, I feel like sometimes you know too much. I was having a conversation with someone who like really knows how to code. And I know a lot of people who know how to code really well, and they're so bearish on the AI stuff because so much of it is like not impressive, not interesting, not useful. And because they know that, like they know too much to be able to speculate on it. And I think there's always that challenge in crypto, right? Where you've got to disconnect from.
It's called mid-curving it.
There you go. Mid-curving it. Okay. Look, we've only got 3 minutes left. Brad, we really said we wanted to hear some numbers from you on the AI side of things. The AI agents, or the agent marketplace, the agent market cap, sorry, has gone up to 16.5 billion. Lots of people calling for that to go to at least 100. That seems to be the numbers being thrown around. What are you seeing on the data side, Brad? Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, we only got 2 minutes. So I'll just do like a recap.
Yes,
so your headline was for just the market cap up 30% in 7 days, up to 16.7 billion. If you go to cookie.fun, you can see inside of that mind share for broadly for AI agents, 50% for AI XBT, 10% for Fartcoin, 6.5 for virtuals as the protocol. 10 like Fartcoin is one that's kind of interesting because it's an AI, it's memes within the AI sector, right? There is no actual AI attached to it, but it was launched by an AI, so it's kind of qualified as this. That's kind of an interesting debate that I've heard on a lot of spaces. But then if you go through the ecosystems, the breakdown is virtuals is making up 5.9 billion, and AI 16Z is making up 2.57. So virtuals at the top, nearly double of AI 16Z behind it. And then if you look at the chain liquidity, 9.4 billion over on Solana, 7.9 billion over on Base. Base is clearly turned out to be the haven for like Ethereum's expression of this market cycle. You never hear stuff about Arbitrum. You don't hear a whole lot about mainnet anymore. There's a debate on whether that's good or bad. And then Solana is obviously just running everything. It was kind of interesting to see that, right? So virtuals is obviously on Base, 5.9 billion, and of Base's total liquidity, 7.9 billion. That means there's 2 billion gap in non-virtual stuff on Base, whereas on Solana, 9.4 billion for the chain total, and then 2.5 billion is its leading protocol, right? So that means you have like about 7 billion market cap gap in other protocols, other things that exist there. So Solana is clearly the place where people are experimenting more and liquidity is attracting more, at least according to Cookie. But Base is not far behind. It's just very concentrated inside of virtuals.
Okay, really good numbers there. Have to throw to Legendary to kind of close us out. We've only got a couple minutes left in the show. I know you've been speculating, investing, participating as much as anyone in the space. What's your reflection on Bread's numbers? How's your attention turning in the AI agent sector? What are you noticing?
Yeah, it's insane to think about if you look at all the narratives and look at Kaito, that AI mind share across everything basically in crypto is still growing, is still expanding. I think we hit 60% on that. Also, the dominance of AI 16Z is of AI XPT, sorry, is just insane if you think about that from a content creator perspective, and you think about just basically how everyone's talking about curating their timeline. And I've been thinking, if I just have an alt account that is following AI XPT, because that picks up everything that's relevant, it's the most relevant thing that others now pick up in this market moving, is probably enough. But then on the other hand, to also think how early we still are when it comes to wallet integrations, when it comes to like other stuff that actually agents can do in an autonomous way. I think Anon from Daniele, which we mentioned previously, did a bunch of transactions autonomously. Quite a lot of them actually on Base yesterday, which was pretty cool to see. And that's still like very, very early stage. The one thing, and that kind of is my final point on that, it connects us back to the start of the discussion, that I'm thinking is that we're now starting to scale out of this idea stage where we will eventually stop throwing money at ideas that we think are cool, but we'll start to look at actually AI agents that have been building something more than the standard tool stack that you can use with virtuals or with AI16Z. So we're actually looking for MVPs that have something more to offer. And I do think that as a part of that, a lot of the agents that we're seeing right now trading anywhere in this like $2 to $50, $100 million range, where some of them are still only ideas, will at some point correct and will consolidate into working products. There's still going to be idea plays that will be pumped up, but I think that this will be becoming rarer as we progress in this AI evolution.
Okay. I think that makes a lot of sense. We've obviously had an opportunity for the market to speculate as much as they want. I think that is still definitely happening. But you know, I think the market's picking some winners, at least at this stage. And I guess what you're saying is that that should probably narrow over time as you start to see people do some better stuff and see the quality of the production. Okay, guys, that is our show. It's great to be back. We do this every single day, Monday to Friday, for 1 hour, 7 a.m. Eastern time. Just a reminder, if you're listening in, we're showing this all live as well. We're live on Twitter video, where we're streaming from our personal profiles as well as the Modern Market account. Also streaming on YouTube. If you want to go there, shout out to the YouTuber commenters going crazy. Always like checking those comments out during the course of the show. We just went past 800 subscribers on YouTube without posting in the last couple of weeks. Then we got like 50 more subscribers without even posting, which I think we're feeding the algorithm, feeding the engine, so that we can stay relevant as AI takes over everything. So that's where we are. That's where you can find us. You can also catch us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you wish. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Great to be back. Hope you had a good break. Let's get it for 2025. Bye-bye.